Maybe we should just start it with this conversation.
Yeah. How do we introduce these new people? Oh wait, we already are.
Are we? Yeah. I feel like because we're very much like hello. I feel like because we're very much like hello friends, like we treat our listeners like they're our friends. I think it makes sense. It's on brand for us to introduce someone new.
Sure.
They are.
Because I know we did it.
Hey friends, these are our new friends. We're not going to tell you their name, and don't you dare ask us what their names are, because we will not tell you.
They're all our friends.
Who told you we even had new friends?
Who's out there telling you? Oh, I did? Well, for me, then.
Rebecca, it's not what you think. It's not what you think, Rebecca.
That's actually funny. I think I'll probably start the stinger with that.
Great. Season 2 just starts with a bunch of F-bombs.
Everyone who listens to the podcast is our friend, except that one person. You know who you are.
You know.
And they do. Logan, you followed us all the way from Misconceptions, didn't you?
Hello, friends. My name is Typo, and you're listening to Sins of the Father.
Hello, friends. We're about to get into a really cool session of Sins of the Father, but before we do that, we have 2 new characters on this show. So before you hear their voices and freak out and like, what's going on? Who are these new people? We were going to let them introduce themselves to you. So 2 new players, why don't you introduce yourselves to them?
Hello, I'm Typo. You may have seen me on this channel before. I'm going to be playing Oswin, the dreaded necromancer, a special class created by Insanity on Twitter.
Hey everyone, I'm Nir, or Shaun. You've also seen me here on this channel, and I'm going to be playing Nyx, the druid on this channel. And not created by anyone special, but hello, hi, I'm here.
Created by you, and that is special.
Yeah.
Yes.
Created by me, and you'll love her.
This is true.
I'm so excited. You guys are here. I am stoked. I've done nothing but think about Sins of the Father since we stopped.
Hi, stoked.
Same.
And on top of that, it's become a problem, an obsession, and I should see a therapist about it because I'm over obsessed with this show.
You know what they say about DnD? It's a form of therapy.
Yeah.
That's right. You're already...
Let's break those traumas open.
Like the gooey nougat of a Cadbury egg.
It's so stressful that the rest of life seems easy by comparison.
Exactly.
Honestly.
If you can slay a dragon, you can slay taxes.
You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge the IRS.
Yes. Okay, yep.
As an accountant and future CPA, I'm not endorsing that.
Oh yeah, no, I don't either.
Don't dodge the IRS.
We do not endorse tax fraud.
Yeah, don't.
Even in like an apocalypse situation, you still gotta pay taxes. When the IRS sets back up, they'll find you and they'll let you know.
That's fair.
You can set fires to orphanage in D&D. You can do it in real life too.
You could.
Definitely.
Don't do it though.
But should.
Don't do it.
I'm
but
just
you
saying,
could.
if the Joker's afraid of the IRS, maybe you shouldn't mess with them.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's how they got the
fair.
big guy. Okay, it's gonna be real simple for me. You ready? 2 years have passed. Dum dum dum. We're gonna start off with Our charming rogue Vartash, what have you been up to for 2 years?
Well, you see. Vartash has been sailing the open seas as a part of the crew of the New Gilded Gorgon? I don't know what this ship is called yet. But part of the crew of Captain Lionheart Tyndall.
We open to an open view of the clear blue sea as we see the newly painted Gilded Gorgon, rebuilt in all its glory, on the open waters, full sail. As the camera gets closer, we see a familiar face step out onto the main deck as we see Vartash carrying an armful of equipment, walking across the main deck. I don't know what kind of equipment you'd be taking care of.
Ropes. I don't know.
Boat stuff.
Boat stuff. Ropes, gunpowder, cannonballs.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Does Vartash look any different?
So, Vartash's horns have grown out a bit. They're in kind of an awkward length where they look too big for his head. Like, his horns have gotten longer, but his head hasn't really changed size. He hasn't really changed height all that much either. He's about still as tall, as freakishly tall for a 10-year-old child as he could be. Yeah, I'd say he's probably got a kind of like a new coat, which he's still wearing the most ostentatious red pirate coat he can think of. It's just how he is. And yeah, that's about the only change, is his horns.
And as we see the newer, slightly older Vartash walking across the deck, long gone is the awkward, not used to the boat, shaky sea legs, as he deftly walks across the deck, handing out all the equipment he's carrying, ropes, winches, everything, within seconds passing from one member to the other of the crew, before something catches your eye. Roll me a perception check. First roll of campaign 2.
So yeah, Vartash kind of seeing a glint in his eye, climbs up like the rigging on one side and like puts his hand over his eyes, squinting to see what he can see. 19.
You see, moving closer to the Gilded Gorgon at a very leisurely pace, you can see what you would only be able to describe as a large, almost man-sized axolotl coming up out of the water and swimming towards you, with a rope tied around it, pulling what seems to be an open coffin with a humanoid-shaped figure standing in it.
He kind of looks at it weirdly for a second. Captain Tyndall, I think you should look starboard.
As that very familiar lion of a man opens the captain's quarters. He pulls from his side a telescope and kind of stretches it out to look at what you're seeing as full frame. The camera zooms in on the large axolotl pulling this coffin, and we get a better look at the figure standing in it.
The grim, armored giant raises a steel hand towards the crew of the boat, and in a voice ill-fitting for its size, says,
Hi there. Do you think we could get some help?
As we see from off camera, you hear a tumble of rope as the end of it lands in front of the axolotl, and then the camera fades away. The camera comes back to now the rolling, lush green hills and plains as it soars over as what has been described as the Covingnell Estate, and we see this one small path leading away from it, through the woods, and as it follows it, you can see it leads uphill towards what looks to be an abandoned mine, before there's this small little flicker of light as you see this very familiar, large, blue-brimmed hat just bobbing along the path up the hill. And as it zooms in, we see Rickett, but he's a little older.
Yeah, and a little taller. So in the past 2 years, he has shot up a foot and an inch. So now he is 5'8". And he is in this very awkward phase of puberty, and he's just very lanky. And his clothes, I don't know, his clothes are, tailored to his body, but he's just awkward and lanky. He's in the awkward, lanky teenage phase, and he's just walking across the fields, and he's just walking along.
Rickett, as you get up to this opening in the mountain, and you see the old entrance to the abandoned mine shaft, the sun is blocked as you see heavier clouds coming in overhead. And you step up to this pitch black shaft leading into the mountain, and there's just the off distance clatter of rock.
Yeah, and so Rickett pauses at the mouth of the cave, and he reaches for his bag at his hip. And inside the bag, you can see this huge tome, the very same spellbook that he had in Season 1. And so he grabs it, and he kind of cradles it against his chest with one arm. And now that he's a little bit bigger, it seems more proportional to him. It's not a massive book that he can hide his whole body behind. But he holds it with one hand, and he reaches into his bag, digging around for something that he knows he's going to need for what's coming out of this cave.
And we get this close-up of Rickett as he's readying himself, seemingly braver than when we last left him, if ever so slightly. The camera cuts back to the just void that is this mine shaft, as that soft clatter of rock gets louder and louder as what sounds like the trampling of footsteps is barreling towards the entrance, before we get just penetrating the darkness, the large face of an adult Kruthic as it barrels over Rickett.
Cinnamon bun, hold on a moment. And Rickett pulls out from his bag this little sphere of rock. He says, it's a geode. I'm not sure what crystal formations are inside, but I just know it's like rock candy to use. So here you go, little buddy.
And Rickett kind of underhand lofts this geode away from where he's now laying on his back, as you see, almost like a dog chasing a ball, the Kruthic spins around and darts after it, scooping up the geode and just shattering it in its large, stone-crushing mandibles. Before, we hear a set of footsteps coming from the entrance, and we see a familiar face of Rickett's friend, Yvalia.
Yeah, Yvalia is very close to womanhood. She is hit a point where she's past the sort of awkward phase we left her in before she's gotten a little bit more meat on her bones rather than her lankiness before, but she is still the same height she was when we left her. I think it was like 5'2", 5'3". Catch me, people. I don't remember. Let me take a peek. But yeah, she's about the same height she was, now looking up to Rickett instead of looking down where she was before. And she laughs and walks over, strides easily over to him.
I guess Cinnamon Bun gave you the workover, huh?
It was a little bit better than it was last time. If you recall, she did impale me in my leg with one of her thorns. Also, I have been doing some reading, and I actually don't know if she is a she. It would depend on what her role in her hive was, because she could have been a worker, which means that she would have been a female, but if she was a drone, she would have been a male. I'm still a little unsure about the ecology of Kruthiks, but maybe for this time we should call Cinnamon Bun they?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, sometimes I say he, so they works just fine. How are you?
I'm fine. Like I said, they did not impale me.
No, I mean, overall, I mean, it's been a month or so, right?
It has been a while. I just finished the tip of the tusk last night. There was a turn, and I did not see it coming.
Oh, wow. Oh. Well, I haven't been doing any reading. I know I said I would, but I haven't. But I did find a new area of the cave system that I didn't know existed before. So that's been kind of cool.
Rickett's reading some smut novels.
It does sound like a euphemism.
It sounds very inappropriate.
Yeah, tip of the tusk.
Don't worry, inside jokes.
Yeah.
You guys don't know.
I found it in my mother's side table drawer.
Oh,
It looked really worn out.
is that is that a type of book you should be reading, Rickett?
I don't want to have it. I don't want it to be canon that Rickett reads smut. This should be edited out. A new part of the cave. I bet Cinnamon Bun has loved that.
Oh yeah, I mean they kind of found it. They bored through a wall, and it's a whole new part of the cave system. Lots of the stalactites and the stalagmites. Is that right?
Tights cling to the ceiling tightly, and mites, they're on the ground.
Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, lots of exploring down there, but luckily we haven't run any spiders.
Oh yeah, spiders are the worst. Oh, I remember. Vartash is coming into town to Haravel.
Oh wow, cool. That'll be great. So are we gonna meet him?
I would like to.
Great, cool.
It has been approximately 26 months since we last saw him.
Has it? Doesn't
2
seem
years
like
and 2
it's been
months.
that long.
That's good.
I don't know. I am making up a number, and I'm looking at my GM questioningly.
26
I just gave him a hard number.
Is over 2 years.
My divination has come back to me, and yes, it has been 26 months.
I mean, I guess. Yeah, if I remember back, you were a lot shorter, huh?
Yes, Mother says I'm coming into my manhood.
What does that mean?
I think it just means I'm getting taller.
Okay.
There's an awkward silence.
Okay. Well, how are we gonna get there? You didn't bring a horse?
No. Mother also says I should not be trusted with equestrian sports.
So we walk. I mean, it's not that far to Haravel.
I did it when I was 13.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right, huh? Well, we could always ride Cinnamon Bun.
Looks over at Kruthick.
With its large, segmented, chitinous shell with protruding spikes and sharp abrasions.
How exactly?
I usually get like a burlap sack to sit on. It kind of helps.
Okay, well then if you've done it, I trust you implicitly.
I don't know if you should do that, but okay. Well, cool. That sounds good. Let's go.
She like goes over, like there's like this pile of like just junk beside the entrance. That over her travels, and as she's kind of cleared things out, she'll like throw stuff there just because, whatever, she doesn't care. And so she goes over and grabs 2 old burlap sacks, and then she does this like really loud like whistle and to summon Cinnamon Bun.
And they both secure their saddles and set forth on their journey. Cue Life is a Highway. Hello friends, and welcome to the long-awaited return of Sins of the Father. I'm your Dungeon Daddy, Jackson Chandler. Thanks for sticking it out and being patient with us while we got the production for Season 2 underway. We did a lot of planning going into this season to make it even better than the last one. You might notice that we have a few new voices you might have heard from some of the side quests we release on the Misconceptions Network. So I'd like to give a big welcome to Near the Ferret King and Typo, who will be joining us as the newest cast members for Sins of the Father. The additions they're bringing to our story will be amazing, and I can't wait for y'all to be a part of their journey. Thank you to all of our new patrons since the last recording of Sins of the Father. So thank you to Mitchell Wallace, Aubrey T. Harris, Winter Parrot, Super Luigi Bro, Tessa Wolford, and Carl Collins. Thank you also to Kit Andrade for upping your Patreon donations. Welcome to our crazy podcast, and I hope you enjoy your stay. Don't forget to support us on iTunes. If you leave us a review, send us a copy of it to misconceptionspod@gmail.com to receive a free Sins of the Father decal. I won't keep you any longer. Let's jump right into the start of Sins of the Father, Season 2.
Hey, have you heard anything from Yabo?
Sadly, no. Truly the only reason I'm able, well, you know this, you've been to my house, but the only reason that we're able to communicate with Vartash is because the sending stone in my father's study and the sending stone aboard the Gilded Gorgon. I don't think Yabo has a sending stone, and truthfully, I don't know if he would know what to do with it.
Just smacking it.
I just see, like, in my mind's eye, like, Yabo with the sending stone, be like, tell me your word, stone!
How do a man talk?
Shouting, Rickett, how are you in there?
Rickett! Rickett, can you hear me?
I love it. You see Yvalia look a little bit, like, sad, like, crestfallen for a moment before she nods and says,
Okay, well, I don't even know where he was from, honestly.
Now that you mention it, neither do I. I mean, it's funny to think about, but we really only knew each other for maybe 2 months.
Yeah, and, we didn't talk about a whole lot about our personal lives. It seems like there was so much to talk about all the things that were happening. I don't know. My dad said that's trauma bonding. But hey, we're really friends, aren't we, Rickett? And I think we're really friends with Vartash too, with how much we talk to him. So maybe our paths will cross with Yabo sometime soon, and we can get back in touch, huh?
I hope so. He was rambunctious. He was like a bullet in a fine jade shop, but I mean, I still miss him.
Yeah, me too.
And to answer your earlier question, yes, you are my friend.
That's great.
Could you scoot up a little bit? The spike is kind of biting into my back.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
Thanks.
We fast forward as the camera pans up from the traveling duo of Yvalia and Rickett. We see, for the first time in a long time, the city of Haravel. but as the camera gets closer, you can see that the undercity part of it, the more seafaring humanoids, have expanded. There are more buildings on the lower side of it that aren't of that same quality you see peeking out from the upper levels of it as you both are cresting over a hill in the distance. Yvalia, you would know from your recent travels here that there have been almost what you would classify as terror attacks or insurrectionists that are rising up within the city itself on both the upper and lower floors that have caused the military forces and presence of Haravel from the council members themselves for the safety of the whole city, as there are now more of those mechanical guards and sentient, like, monstrous races and a slight mixture of humanoid, like, militia posted at the large elevators that ferry citizens from the bottom floors to the upper floors, and they have installed almost military checkpoints throughout the cities, as there are random inspections and interrogations. Things are very tense, and you can feel the almost powder keg situation that Haravel currently sits at, as both of you ride into town and can see that there are groups of people congregating here and there, but you can see the mistrust and suspicion on their faces as they see the two of you riding through town together.
So, right before we go into town, Yvalia stops and, like, instructs Rickett to get off, and she takes out of her pack this sort of, it looks like a water buffalo, like, pelt, and throws it over Cinnamon Bun. And then pulls out her lute and just strums a couple chords, just a couple little chords, and it transforms Cinnamon Bun using prestidigitation as to look like a water buffalo that they're riding into town. And she looks at Rickett and says,
Yeah, I don't like to leave Cinnamon Bun behind, so this is what I do.
I did think it would be unwise to ride a murderous underground drone creature through Haravel.
Yeah, and it's different now. Things are worse.
What do you mean?
Just, it's tense, so let's try not to have any mishaps, because last time I saw a guy drop a book loudly on the ground, and it just, like, startled the whole guards, and he got taken back, and I don't know what they did with him. So just be careful, okay?
Okay. Rickett reaches down to his bag full of books and just, like, clips the little satchel closed and tight so that no books are going to fall out.
yeah, and then remounting, getting back on, and then heading in as we walk in.
And the two of you, kind of at Yvalia's guide, take a much wider path around to avoid contact with others as possible as you make your way to the docks where your original adventure first set off. And as you both sit there and wait, after roughly 20 minutes passes, you see a very familiar sight as a ship approaches from the sea, and as it gets closer, you see the golden, gilded figurehead of what looks to be a gorgon mounted on the front of the ship. As the sails are furled up and they begin to pull into the docks and rope everything off, pulling it closer towards the two of you. and you see a familiar face peeking over the edge of the ship. As for the first time in, how long did you say?
26 months.
As for the first time in 26 months, you see Vartash, your old dragonborn friend.
I think Yvalia waves.
Yeah, Rickett, like, stands up on his tiptoes and, like, does the full arm extension wave. Did you think he sees us? It's looking right at us. Do you think he sees us?
Yeah.
Vartash kind of swings up onto the rigging and starts waving. He starts waving his hand, and this little, like a little snake-like thing just starts flying around where his hand is moving. And he's very excited.
Yvalia leans over to Rickett and says, like, just loud enough over, like, the sound of everything. It's only a message for Rickett. She says,
I think he became the pirate he always wanted to be.
I hope so.
The crew are bustling across the Gilded Gorgon as they finish all the docking procedures before a ramp is planted onto the dock itself, where Yvalia, you, and Rickett are standing. And as Vartash makes his way over to the ramp and starts stepping down, you see that there are two unfamiliar faces accompanying him that are following him off of the boat. If you two would like to describe your characters now, please go ahead.
I will start since I let Typo start last time. You see, immediately, which at this point I imagine she has her very long hair braided and like up in a ponytail because she's been taught by a lovely pirate lady to put her hair up. Everyone will probably at this point at least know the voice of that person. But long, silky pink hair, little pointy fey-like ears, green eyes that seem to like shimmer and glow, that are very little unnatural compared to most like typical elves or like even half elves you would see. You'd probably like at a glance you'd probably go, oh, she's a half elf, and then her eyes are glowing, her hair is bright pink, her ears are also a little longer than even just normal elves, and at that, like, her skin is also different, where it's like even more like glistening and sparkly compared to most elves. And there's this more like wonder-like, fey-like way about her, accompanied by a more like human-esque side as well. And this short little 5'3" little girl is traveling behind Vartash, just like jumping up and down behind him. Like, is that him? Is that him? Is that him? Pointing at like both over at Yvalia and Rickett over there, just pointing at them.
On the opposite side of the Disney princess is a figure that resembles a gothic knight in heavy plate mail, standing about 6'4", 6'5", and clanking and jingling with every footstep across the wooden platform out towards the dock. The figure has these glowing blue-green eyes that pierce out in a manner reminiscent of a warforged. And he is glancing down towards Vartash and the figure behind him, and looking out towards the other two at the dock, and unfortunately you can't see any expression on the face. The mechanical face is simply a mask of neutrality currently etched into its features.
I feel like I don't get surprised anymore, but I'm surprised, Rickett.
I felt like I wanted to give Vartash a hug, but all of a sudden, I don't.
Vartash runs down the ramp and immediately just goes in and grabs Rickett, lifts him, and spins around with him.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's been so long. Have you gotten bigger, or did your hat just get smaller?
I am approximately 13.1 inches taller than when you last saw me.
All right, Yvalia.
I haven't grown a bit.
Oh, come here. And he grabs her, too, and hugs her.
Behind these two, you can see the giant and the Fey girl glancing at each other, looking at the seed, and the giant's gesture see?
Leans, like,
as if there's some big
whispers
conspiracy.
whispers up to, like, the tall giant next to her, and is just like, so, friend Oswin, that's the one, right? Right? That's the one, right? The boy, a friend, right? That's about Vartash is the one he talks to all the time, right? That's the one? The boyfriend?
I believe that is indeed Vartash's boy of friend.
Right. Right. That's what I was thinking.
Oh my gosh. I love it.
It's so cute. See, he ran to him. Oh, maybe he'll finally be happy.
Oh my gosh.
She, you see Yvalia, like, as Vartash lets her go, and she's, like, giving him the hearty pat on the back, and then she looks up at him, and she says,
A seer did you good, didn't it, Vartash?
It's been amazing. It's everything I ever wanted.
Yeah.
Oh, these are my friends. Nyx? He points to the pink one.
She just, pops up right next to him.
Hello. She does that. And Oswin.
It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I am Oswin Grimoire.
He's not as scary as he looks.
I am Rickett Covingdale.
I'm Yvalia Jasmine.
I'm Nyx.
I understand that my face can't change, but I would like you to know that if I could make expressions, I would be smiling right now.
you see Yvalia, she like, as Oswin says that, she smiles, like, to, like, be reassuring, and then looks over at Nyx and stops for a second.
Do you look familiar to me?
Do I? I don't know how familiar I look to most people. I seem to be very different from most people around here. I guess the pink hair.
Yeah, that's what's weird about it. Oh well. It's nice to meet you both.
It's a pleasure to finally meet you, friend Yvalia and friend Rickett. Kind of like she's like looks at both of you and is unsure of what is acceptable to like do, and then she's like, whatever. And she like hugs both of you. And she like runs up, hug.
Okay.
Oswin, observing this behavior, briefly glances at Vartash as if to confirm that this is the appropriate behavior, and then follows suit, hugging each in turn with his giant steel grip.
But unlike Nyx's hug, this one is a much more awkward, almost mechanical, very cold hug.
Perfect.
If you could even call it a hug.
Perfect.
So, has Vartash talked about us? It sounds like, by what you just said, he's been talking about us.
And she, like, elbows Vartash.
He talks about you all the time.
I may have told him a little bit about it. You know. We did some cool things.
Vartash talked about you guys very highly. In fact, I think you might actually be some of his best friends.
Rickett looks at Yvalia like, oh.
Yeah. We had a lot of fun, didn't we?
I mean, I don't know if I'd call it that.
There was no fun involved. We murdered a man. I'm pretty sure he had a family, and we almost died multiple times. Oh, sorry.
Also, you saved the world, or maybe something like that.
I kind of only told them the good parts.
I mean, in some cases, sacrifices are meant to be made, right?
You most certainly left out the cold-blooded murder part.
Well, she looks at Nix and says,
Yabo would have liked you a lot.
I don't really understand a lot about this world fully, so I'm not really sure what is allowed and what's not.
Murder's not, typically.
Yeah, it is a no-no.
I mean, technically people don't die from where I'm from, so I don't really know.
Rickett gives Nix a quizzical look.
Oh, hi. I'm from, well, not really from here. I don't usually come to this world. Sort of weird. We're sort of traveling here. Hi. I'm from a grove in, like, the Fae area. Hi.
I live about 10 miles north of here. I also don't come to this, he, like, gestures, world.
Wait,
much.
did she say fairies? Are you from the Feywild?
I think that's the word you use for it, I believe.
Wow. That's cool. I've never been, but I've heard good things.
I mean, pretty much honestly, I don't know many bad things about it. I mean, there's maybe a few bad things about it, but I don't really go anywhere near anything bad, so... I'm from a grove, but it's all good there.
Yeah. We're actually both relatively new to, outside places. But we've had a good teacher, right, Vartash?
I mean, I don't know how well I've been teaching.
We sort of stumbled upon this.
Oh, you're amazing, Vartash. You know almost everything.
Well, he taught me the cannonball.
What?
I now know what a cannonball is, and it's apparently when you jump off of a high place and you jump into the water.
I did teach her that.
Also, it's that thing that they put in the cannons. I don't know how that correlates to performing the act of a cannonball.
Oh, and I learned she, like, pulls down her hair, and immediately, like, the braid ponytail thing falls out, and her hair just immediately falls to, like, the floor. And it's, like, where it's been held up to, like, kind of be more towards her waist, it's, like, it just falls to the floor. She's like, I learned this, where, like, you put your hair, I think, into the pony.
That wasn't me.
Thing.
Yeah.
Yvalia shows her braid, like,
We like those.
Yeah, we kind of found them floating in a coffin. Oh, and she was a fish thing. She can turn into stuff. It's a long story.
Oh, you want me to show you? I can show you.
No, wait. Things are a little tense in, Haravel. I don't know if you've been back recently, Vartash, but it's not great. Let's not make a scene. And no offense, but you guys kind of already... I mean, even for Haravel, are a kind of a lot. Do we have a place we could go, to talk more? It makes me nervous. I was telling Rickett, I saw a guy last time I was here get taken to the back. I don't know what they did with him. He just dropped a book and startled people, and it was like a thing. I don't want us to get in any trouble.
The back of where?
What?
The back of where? Where they took him to the back of where?
There's guards, all over the place. And I guess it was at the gate, and I guess the guy he was carrying books, and he dropped one, and it made a loud noise, and it startled the guards, and they took him back into some room somewhere. But this was, like, earlier this year.
Were they helping him find a book?
No, I think they heard him.
I don't really know anything about that. My father's been telling me a little bit about what's going on. Sounds as if they've made progress.
Somebody at the end told me there's been insurrections. She looks at Nix, like, trying to overthrow the government. Shh, don't say that too loud. Trying to overthrow the government. And, things have not been good in Haravel for a long time for a lot of people. They like to treat some of us like we're not so great, even though we're just doing our thing, you know? So, some people are mad about that, and they're trying to stop it from happening. And there's more to it than that. That's hard to explain, but from what I gather, things are really tense around here, because they're afraid anybody could be someone trying to start an insurrection.
Well, I don't know what that exactly is, but I mean, I don't think I would ever start one. I don't actually even know what that is.
Oswin doesn't say anything, but he is regarding what Yvalia is saying with a very quiet curiosity and contemplation.
That you could most likely get a private room or somewhere to talk at.
My father also lives here, so we can
Yeah,
also...
in the upper city, there's that whole...
Do we want to try to, like, venture to the upper city with, like, 2 humans and a half-elf? Yvalia has no idea.
Walking
Would it be
bubblegum.
better for me to look normal-ish in some way?
I really don't think it would matter.
I mean, it might, but Oswin still looks... I mean, no offense, Oswin. It's great, but it's intimidating.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry for who you are.
I mean, it's not as intimidating as the guard. You know, the big stone ones.
Thanks, Vartash. But it's probably best if I don't draw too much attention anyways. I read a little bit about this place, and from what I understand, they shouldn't have a problem with warforged, right?
Not that I'm aware of.
So we should be fine?
If anyone tries to bother us, I'll just tell them my last name and everything will be fine.
Yeah, the warforged kind of fall into this gray area of they're not monstrous, but they're not humanoid either. So they're kind of not regarded with ill intent from either side, but also not favored.
Sure.
I mean, technically I'm not human, so it's fine.
If worse comes to worse, we could probably just put more glitter on you.
I don't know if you could fit any more glitter on her.
Fine.
It's really hard.
Probably.
Well, I had my father. I'd check in with him while I was in town. I mean, we could go see him.
Sure.
Well, I don't really know where we're going, so, Vartash, do you know where we're going?
Grew up here all my life. Let's go.
And he will start wandering towards the nearest elevator.
Yeah, Yvalia grabs the little, like, lead that she's got for Cinnamon Bun and leads Cinnamon Bun with them.
And the camera kind of starts to pan out a little bit as we see this new colorful cast of characters walking towards the center of this lower district. Before the camera kind of turns back to the Gilded Gorgon, where we see coming off of the boat the familiar faces of a drow with this wide-brimmed hat on, a large loxodon, and what looks to be a walking zebrafish. What was it? Lionfish. I was close. A humanoid walking lionfish. As digging into his barrel, you just hear, I need a drink. End of episode.
Yeah. Woo! My boys.
I love
Yay.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode. Next episode will be released on March 14th. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Sins of the Pod. If you weren't aware, we have a Discord channel for the Misconceptions Podcast Network where you can chat about your favorite shows and anything else nerdy with all of the crew and other friends of the show. We also launched a merch store where you can fulfill all of your nerdy misconceptions and Sins of the Father needs. Just go to misconceptionspod.com to check out everything we have to offer. If you need to contact us, you can send us an email to misconceptionspod@gmail.com. Sins of the Father is only possible thanks to y'all, so we'd appreciate it if you would spread the word about our show if you enjoy it. If you're feeling especially generous, you can always donate to us through our Patreon page. However you decide to help, we greatly appreciate it. Sins of the Father is an actual play podcast using the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition role-playing game by Wizards of the Coast. The Sins of the Father theme was composed by Aaron Wharton. You can find more of his music at aaronwharton.net. Sins of the Father is a part of the Misconceptions Podcast Network. That about covers it for now, and as always, keep rolling crits. Just kidding. I can't be a mean DM.
Oh
It
boy.
hurts me when my
You
players
weren't mean
hurt.
before, because man,
It makes me the big sad.
That's why he's a good dungeon
that's
daddy.
fair, actually.
This hurts me more than it hurts
Sad for
you.
you, my child.
10d16.
Can we finally call? I can finally call you Dungeon Daddy. Yes, I'm happy.
I can call you Dungeon Daddy too. Oh,
My family has grown on
Welcome.
us.
can. Welcome, siblings.
Welcome, siblings. We still got Errol down in the basement.
Welcome.
Still sucking on his marrow, we are. Well,
Damn.
we only got 4 bones left, so I guess you just have to fight us for one of it then.
Man.
I got the right femur.
He wants that juicy marrow.
I want that. Please, Dungeon Daddy, give me a juicy marrow.
Oh God, no.
Words you never expected
man.
to hear from David's mouth.
Let's,
Yes. We have to
Jesus.
reach peak crackhead
That's-
energy.